Right, de vakprofilering voor kinderen niet. Just to let you know, I tend to always do audio feedback because if I write feedback, you don't get the intonation, and you may misconstrue something I say. So I'll just explain. I've gone through it already and I've written all sorts of comments. So just so that you know, anything yellow is a typo or a grammar mistake or whatever. And sometimes there are comments. So I'll just have a quick look. Some of them are very logical, so I'm not going to go through them, but just something scribbled on the side, nice intro, clear, whatever, that's obviously just clear. Yeah, fucking out I think should be one word, but hey, you're the experts, not me. Yeah, something I missed here, you're talking about the CETO test, which is not used by many schools. Plus the CETO test for English, the Me Too test, doesn't actually test speaking skills, which monologue and or dialogue, which is of course what the main aim is of primary education. It's aiming at, well, it's communicative language teaching, and it's aiming mainly at being able to communicate, so speak, not writing, not necessarily much reading, so it's mainly listening and speaking, which is what CETO doesn't test. It would have been perhaps nice to go into that in a bit more depth. Yeah, you can read that sort of thing later. The kerndoelen are there. Yeah, it's good that you noticed that that there is a similarity between some of the kerndoelen for the primary education and secondary education, so well done for spotting that. Yeah, I think that's good. I liked your research question, makes it very clear. Obviously this bit wasn't for the vakprofilering isn't a strict research, so you don't have to follow all the rules and pull it back up at the end and answer your question, hoofdvragen, deelvragen, etc., but it was a good question. These things you can read. It's good that you've been very you've taken ethics into account, you've anonymized everything, and that's a really good thing. It's very important to do that. Right. Yeah, I wrote here about the interlocutor effect because you were talking, I'm getting into the research technical part of it, which of course is something Elise will have done. It's not my job, but nonetheless I've spotted it. So you talk about the doing these interviews, and you've got a whole script for how you're going to start them and finish them, etc., which is really good. But what you don't mention there is this also helps, of course, with the interlocutor effect, that it helps you, prevents the interviewer from influencing the person you're interviewing by nodding and smiling, etc., to indicate yes, I agree with you. But anyway, that, as I say, that's interview technical stuff, and that's not my part, that's Elise's part. Yes, helder, nothing new. Oh yeah, that was just me commenting on the fact that, yeah, nothing really is done with English, no surprise. Helder. Yeah, this is obviously something went wrong with your copy pasting, I think, because this is what you just said up here and then it's repeated there. Not the end of the world. Yeah, just asking for a bit of clarity. Yeah, I think methode gebonden should be one word, so you see that all over the place, but again, not the end of the world, we understand each other. A couple of typos. Yeah, I thought this was very good for the school to look at that, so that they also look at the Dutch test, because of course your ability in your mother tongue says a lot about your possible ability in a second language, assuming then that Dutch is their first language, because again it might not be. It's nicely nuanced. Your conclusions, there's a nice bit of nuancing in there, which is very, very good. Yeah, I found this a bit sort of a sort of sweeping statement. These results will help them differentiate. I'm not sure if the results will help them differentiate. The results will give them information which they can use to differentiate if they want to. So it was just a bit sort of a sweeping statement. Okay, you've got some very good sources there. I thought it was quite funny that you've got Jan Willem and Tina there, the CLIL toolkit. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that was there. Okay, and then I scribbled a few bits down here somewhere, so I'm going to zip down there. Yeah, the taalprofielen that you use, that is a good idea. Yeah, you can read that yourself afterwards. And then the evaluation, which you've done. There was nothing. Oh yeah, no, you can read those things. And I haven't done the reflections. I'll do the reflections individually, so that'll just be written feedback if you're like, oh, there's a DT mistake here. And oh yeah, a couple of typos. Indeed, your instrument is very, very long, and one of my comments with this is, first of all, for the primary school teachers, it's an awful lot to fill in if they have 25 pupils. But if you imagine the secondary school teacher has 30 to 35 pupils in his class sometimes, and may have 5 brugklassen, that's an awful lot to read. So indeed, as the comment was from the schools, it's perhaps a bit too long. Right, going down, and then you have your individual report, which I'm going to look at individually, so you'll just get a bit of written feedback. But I'm just going to pull up the assessment form, the general one if you like, for all 3 of you, so that you can see that before I add the individual reflections. So if we go to the top, yeah, I've just written for now all 3 names. Of course it won't be in a bit. Couple of typing mistakes, language mistakes, so it's not on the full there. Your theory was very good. Your base measurement, what's the problem at the school, who are the schools, how much English do they teach, etc. That was very, very thorough. As far as this part is concerned, the only thing I missed was a bit of depth, talking about, for example, communicative language teaching. The aim for English is mainly speaking and listening, etc., etc. What I already mentioned with reading. Your tool is very thorough, the tool that you've chosen. Okay, it's too long, but you talk about that in the conclusion and the feedback from the schools, but the tool itself is thorough. This bit will be done individually, but you can see already that your grades are high, so well done you guys.